absolutely crazy. And I mentioned this a little bit on the show yesterday. I know Yankee fans, their narrative for the last couple of years is, well, the Yankees are cheap. They don't spend a lot of money. Now, I'll give you this. They don't spend what the Dodgers spend, but neither does Steve Cohen. So the Yankees have a payroll over $300 million. Last year, their payroll was $319. So this year, it's going to be over $300 million, even if they don't sign Bellinger. So I never bought into that cheap aspect. Now, if you want to say you're cheap because you don't spend like Guggenheim Partners, well, then that's your definition of cheap, whatever the case may be. But the Red Sox, they actually have to answer to whether or not they're cheap. Because they, I think, just recently went over the first threshold. So their payroll is at like $240. The wealth of John Henry and Fenway Partners, whatever they're called, supersedes the wealth of the Steinbrenner family and the other investors. And it's right up there with anybody in sports. It's not with Steve Cohen, but I think that the Red Sox fans feel, okay, they gave us 4 championships when we didn't have one since 1918. And now they're saying, well, now we're not going to spend the way we did. So we're going to have Jared Carrabis on at 2:30. He's got the pulse of Boston. He's a big Red Sox fan. He actually does simulcast stuff on Nesson, has his own podcast. He's a mover and a shaker. Really smart guy. Huge Red Sox fan. And he has been destroying the Red Sox. Absolutely destroying them. So I thought it'd be fun to talk to him to really get the pulse what's going on with the Red Sox, with the Bregman deal and Bregman going to the Cubs. So the Red Sox shed themselves of Rafael Devers' contract, shed themselves of the $40 million that they spent on Bregman last year when he opted out, and they have not put any of that money back in. Any of it. They've made trades. They're the only team in baseball, the only team that has not signed a free agent. 0. When you look at the numbers of what teams have spent, Red Sox 0. They've made trades. They've made some pretty good trades. Sonny Gray, Contreras playing first base. I get all of that. But they have not signed anybody. They thought for sure they were getting Bregman. They would not give him the straight-up no-trade clause. So Bregman went to the Cubs, who gave him the no-trade clause. And I'll repeat something that Andrew Friedman, he is the president of baseball operations of the Dodgers. He said this a long time ago. He said, if you're going to be rational when it comes to free agency, you're always going to finish third for the player. And never were truer words spoken. Do you really believe that in their heart of hearts, the Yankees wanted to give Max Fried that 8th year? No. But they knew that another team was giving him 7, the Texas Rangers, and there's no state tax in Texas. So Steinbrenner said, well, if we're going to get him, we got to give him the 8th year. So they gave him the 8th year. Not being rational. Is it smart to give a 30-year-old pitcher an 8-year contract? No. Was it smart to give Garrett Cole the 9th year in his contract? No. Because pitchers are going to get hurt, and Garrett's already been hurt last year, and now he might not be back since June 1st. But if you're going to land the big fish, you're going to have to be irrational and do things that you don't quite believe in. You think the Yankees wanted to bid up to the point they did for Juan Soto last year? But they desperately wanted him. You think that the Mets wanted to give Juan Soto all that they gave him? Of course not. But they did it because that's the only way to get him. Do you think that the Blue Jays wanted to give Vlad Guerrero a 15-year contract that'll take him into the 40s? Of course they didn't. But that was the only way to sign him. And that leads you to the situation with Cody Bellinger. The Yankees have a valuation on Cody Bellinger of 5 years. Now, I believe that their real true evaluation was 4 years. They went to 5 because to get the guy you want, you got to be a little irrational. And from all the reporting out there, Boris is sitting on 7. Boris represents Bellinger. I don't think the Yankees will move up anymore. So now it's up to Boras to present the team that's going to give him 7 years. Otherwise, double back and go see what the Yankees, if that offer still stands. The Yankees have not withdrawn the offer. We did the Hot Stove show yesterday on Yes, and there were some reports that the Yankees are not talking anymore with Bellinger and with Boras. And Jack Curry, who knows the stuff better than anybody, he said that's not true. There is a continuing dialogue. There is a continuing dialogue. So they have not said, okay, that's it, we're moving on. But, you're getting to the point now. As of yesterday, a month from yesterday, is the Yankees' first workout with pitchers and catchers. And then on February 15th, it's the first full squad workout. So it's getting late early. But there's still some free agents out there. Kyle Tucker, Bellinger. I mean, those are two pretty big ones right there. Bregman's off the board. Framber Valdez. Ranger Suarez. So there are big names that are still out there. Bo Bichette. Now, the Red Sox, will they pivot to Bo Bichette just to quiet down their very angry fan base? Again, we'll talk to Jared Carrabis about that at 2:30. You don't have to thank me because you know I love you and I'm here for you. But the Caster, his 2-pack for sure, nailed both of them. Yeah, nailed both of them. I'd had a rough last week. Week 18 was not kind to me. But I gave you the Patriots, and that was a sweat-free bet. And I gave you the Texans last night, sweat-free bet, 2-0. But I got to give some props to Don LaGreca of Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. Don, against the spread, they picked all 6 games. He was 6-0. 6-0. There are some years that LaGreca goes off on a toot that you don't understand how he's picking all the games right. He's on one of those years. Now, if you want to look at something in the abstract, Jar from Oz monitors all our picks and sends it out on X. Peter Rosenberg, my buddy, is having one of the worst years of picks that I've ever seen. I mean, you could actually get a rooster to peck at a board, and they would have a better record than Peter. Now, I believe that the penalty for losing, and Peter's going to lose, is to get dressed up as a clown. I mean, a real clown. Peter's going to have to get that makeup ready, baby, because the record is so bad. Again, by accident, you'd have a better record than that. By picking your favorite colors, you'd have a better record than that. By going mascots, you'd have a better record than that. Now, Peter, he knows his football. For him to be this bad, it's almost impressive. It's almost impressive. Now, Allen has not had a great year, but nothing like Peter. But Don, again, 6-0 in the first week of the NFL playoffs. Now, yesterday, you saw a Texans team, and this is why I was very comfortable with this pick. They did not give Aaron Rodgers time to breathe. And that's the opposite of what happened against the Ravens. He had all day. The Ravens could not generate a pass rush. And Aaron Rodgers still has that arm. So if you give him time, he's going to beat you. He didn't have any time. And the thing with the Texans, they don't have to run stunts. They don't have to blitz. They rush their 4 guys, 4 defensive linemen, and they're all over the quarterback. Now, I don't know if there's a perfect way to end a career, because I believe that Aaron Rodgers has texted with Pat McAfee, and he looks like he's going to retire. He said, what a way to go out, a great year in Pittsburgh, and love being with Mike Tomlin. But the last pass that Aaron Rodgers threw was a pick 6. Is that something that will bother him? I don't know. See, I've always been of the opinion, like when people go, Willie Mays shouldn't have stuck around and played with the Mets because it ruins people's memory of him. Nonsense. That's your problem. That's not Willie Mays' problem. If you love sports and you love what Willie Mays did, you remember all the great things he did. You remember the catch in the 54 World Series when he, over the shoulder at the Polo Grounds, robbing Vic Wertz of an extra base hit. That's what you remember. You don't remember him in 1973 falling down in the World Series. And as bad as you think Willie Mays was, Yogi Berra had him batting in the middle of the order. He was not a shot player, so he happened to fall down on the biggest stage. I still remember Willie Mays as, if not the greatest player of all time, certainly in the top 5. And I'm not going to remember Aaron Rodgers and his greatness because he threw a pick 6 and kind of made a half-hearted effort to tackle the guy. But I think Aaron Rodgers still has more. And I wonder, will Aaron Rodgers, who's smart, and our good buddy Steve Young always says, if you could throw, you should stay in the game. Because all the rules benefit the quarterback. Maybe he finds a good situation. Because the Steelers don't have a great offense. They've never had a great offense. They're very, very deliberate and conservative because they want the defense to win the game. So they don't want the quarterback or the offense to make any mistakes. So you've turned Aaron Rodgers essentially into a dink-and-dunk quarterback. If he was able to join Minnesota and they let him just air it out, I think he could put up big numbers. But for now, it looks like he's done. And what a career it was. He had a really nice season. And you know what? If you want to remember him in a nice way and don't remember him with the pick 6, remember him the way he brought the Steelers back against the Ravens with, 2 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock. That's the way to remember him. Because yesterday, I don't think that was on Aaron Rodgers. I don't think he had a chance. I don't think the Steelers had a chance. The only reason the game was close was because C.J. Stroud kept turning the ball over. Because the Steelers have a pretty good defense, too. C.J. Stroud kept turning the ball over. But then the Steelers started turning the ball over, giving them opportunities, and finally it started to click, and the Texans are moving on. So a lot of people's chic pick to win the Super Bowl would be the Texans. I don't know if their offense is good enough. I'm not sure. Their defense is, boy, if you can combine the Texans with the Bills, give me the Bills offense and the Texans defense, that team would win the Super Bowl. That team would win the Super Bowl. But that's not to be. The Bills are going to try to get to the Super Bowl without a great defense. And maybe C.J. Stroud, who's a good quarterback, has a better next game than he had in this game. And they still, you look at the final score, they blew out the Steelers. Amazing stat. The Steelers have lost 8 straight playoff games. And you wonder, what's the deal? Is Mike Tomlin next? I don't think the Rooneys would fire Mike Tomlin, but might there be a mutual parting of the ways? Because the Ravens, they made it very clear, they fired John Harbaugh. He did not agree to part ways with them. They fired him. There's no way the Steelers fire Tomlin. So Tomlin, from everything that you hear, has a job waiting for him in television if he wants. Hey, there's a spot open on the CBS pregame show with Matt Ryan becoming the president of football operations of the Falcons. So there's a spot there. We shall see. Now, one quick television note. I don't want to step on Andrew Marchand's turf. You watched that game yesterday. And all the guys that rise to the level of the top broadcast team on each network, they're obviously excellent. There's nobody better at this time than Troy Aikman. Nobody. The guy tells the truth. He doesn't sugarcoat anything. He doesn't put lipstick on a pig. I think that he's at the point in his life that he has 0 F's left to give. And if you're not going to like what he says, then too bad. Don't like it. He criticizes officials. He criticizes schemes. He had a great game yesterday. I believe, and not because it's our company, the combination of Buck and Aikman are the best. And, Tirico and Collinsworth, excellent. Although they got a lot of criticism this weekend. Nance and Romo do a really good job. Even the second team at CBS, Ian Eagle and J.J. Watt do an unbelievable job. And I'm not one of these people that thinks Al Michaels is finished. Is he what he used to be when, do you believe in miracles? No. He's 80-some-odd years old. He still can bring it. I thought he had a really good game when Prime had that playoff game this weekend. But there's nobody better. There's nobody better, in my opinion, than Aikman. He is that good. That good. Critical when he has to be. Laudatory when he has to be. He's good. 1-800-919-3776. Since we have 3 guests today, I'd like to get you involved. I'd like the co-host involved. So let's go. Let's start it off right now with Andrew in Long Island. Andrew.
Hey, Michael. How are you today?
Good. How are you doing, Andrew?
Good, thank you. I was just about the Yankees and the Giants quick. The Yankees, they need to clean up that flex they got going on with paying players who aren't with the Yankees anymore. They got LeMahieu. I know Hicks is the last year. They pay him $1 million this year, I believe.
Who's that?
And Marcus Stroman. They owe him some money, and between them.
No, they don't. They don't owe Marcus. They don't owe Marcus Stroman any money.
I didn't owe them. All right. Well, LeMahieu one is still carrying over.
$15 million.
It makes me wonder, would they have gotten Pete Fairbanks, if they didn't owe that money on LeMahieu, you think?
No.
Because I know they got him for $13 million. So.
No, I think they like their bullpen, Andrew. They like their bullpen. And I think Fairbanks is a good pitcher, and obviously, even the Rays didn't keep him. I think the option was $11 million, and they didn't pick it up. Now, I don't think the Yankees lost out on Fairbanks. Listen, the Yankees are going over the final threshold. They are. That's all there is to it. So I don't think that impacts, and that any dollar they spend is doubled now. So even if they sign Bellinger at $32 million, it's going to cost them $64 because they're over 110% tax. So I don't think that they had that much of an overt interest in Fairbanks. Their closer's going to make $9 million. That's Bednar. Doval makes $6 million. They think that they've straightened out Bird, that he's going to be a contributor. They like Fernando Cruz. The Yankees have never been, since Chapman, the team that's going to spend an awful lot of money on a closer. They feel that they can put together a bullpen without going over the top, like paying Edwin Diaz $23 million a year. And they had no intention of bringing back Devin Williams. The Mets gave him $17 a year. Yankees wouldn't do that. Yankees liked Luke Weaver. They liked him when they were paying him $2.5 million. They don't like him at $11. They set prices of what they think somebody's worth. That's why they have all those smart people from Ivy League schools crunching numbers in the front office. What's the worth on this guy? So the actual worth on a player is $10 million for every WAR. Now, sometimes that goes out of whack because if you look at that, Bellinger's worth $50 million last year. But then you have to extrapolate forward and go, is he going to have another 5 WAR year? Because with the Dodgers, he actually had a year of minus 1.6 WAR. Minus 1.6. So he's gone up and down with his WAR. He's at 2. He is at 5 last year, 5.1. So if you look at Aaron Judge is a bargain for the Yankees at $40 million. He's worth $65 to $70 million from what he gives them. And if you go by WAR, his WAR is like 11. So he's worth $110 million. All of that stuff is taken into account. So, Andrew, I do not think that they were in on Fairbanks because I don't think they valued him at $13 million, not because of what they have to pay DJ LeMahieu. Let's go to Raul in Harrisburg. Raul.
Mike, how you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
Hey, I got a question, my friend. I got a Yankee question. Hey, listen, Monday Night Football, they should get rid of that Monday Night Football. I know you mentioned that something, but I don't like it. I don't think it's football traditional for the playoff,
Well, it is strange because you're putting teams at a disadvantage when they're playing on Monday, then have to play on Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah.
I mean, ESPN deserves to have a game, but give them a game on Saturday or Sunday.
That's right, and all these deals with the TVs, it's screwing everybody up,
Right.
But anyway, Mike, that's another question. Mike, who you rather on the Yankees as a better fit? Bellinger to me is a better fit. They want to give him maybe. I heard today is a report that they're doing better with him. But honestly, if they're going to go to Bellinger, just stick with Tucker, Mike. What do you think about that? Bellinger's a little older, so I'm scared of the end of the contract. You know what I mean?
Well, that's why they don't want to give him 7. So
right.
they're giving him 5. He's 30 years old. The contract will end at 35. Now, Scott Boras is saying, well, guys that are older than him, Schwarber and Alonso got 5. So since he's 30, we're going to give him 7. Well, and the Yankees probably thinking, well, what do we have to answer for what the Orioles did and for what the Phillies did? We value him at 5 years. We don't value him at 7. Now, Tucker's overall a better player and he's younger, but he's not as good defensively, even close to Bellinger. He's just not. So if the Yankees got 4 out of the 5 years, what Bellinger gave them last year, they'd be overjoyed. But it seems like they don't want to risk trying for 7. They don't want to risk trying for 7. We mentioned Aaron Rodgers earlier. He spoke after the game, and he was, very thoughtful in the way he spoke. I just wanted to play you this one cut before we go back to the calls. This is Aaron Rodgers, thankful for having played. Well, I'll let him say it. Here's Aaron Rodgers.
I was fortunate to play in an incredible football city for 18 years, and I never took it for granted. I enjoyed that time there, and this has been a really beautiful back end to that first 18, to be able to be here for a year. This is a special place. You got tradition, got excellence, got all-time greats. Even just looking around the stadium tonight just to see the fans, there wasn't a big splattering of Texans fans, and there's a lot to be said for that. There's only a few really special places in the league that have the tradition and the town and the organization, and I'm thankful to have played for 2 of them.
I should like him more than I do. He's so super petty and vindictive. I don't know if he remembers, but he played 2 years with the Jets. So he's thankful for playing for 2 great franchises. He purposely said that because without saying the Jets' name, he just completely urinated on them. He told you how dysfunctional they are, how much he hates them, without saying it. There's a brilliance to it. There's an absolute brilliance to the way he does it, and he doesn't let it go. So who am I to criticize Aaron Rodgers for being petty when I'm just as petty as him? But he's got a bigger platform to be petty. And when he says something, he's telling the whole league the Jets are a dumpster fire without even saying their name. I played for 2 great franchises. But, Aaron, you've played for 3 franchises. Yeah, I played for 2 great franchises. There's something about it that just, you want to hug him. You want to hug him for his vindictiveness and his pettiness. Now, we told you he did text Pat McAfee that this is probably it, but yesterday this is what he said about his future.
Yeah, just get away and then have the right conversations.
Wouldn't it be funny if he walks away and then he becomes Phillip Rivers next year, where there's a really good team, maybe the Minnesota Vikings, where J.J. McCarthy goes down. Hey, Aaron, I could see him pulling a Clemens. I could see him pulling a Phillip Rivers because he still has football left in him. And if you put him in the hands of an offensive genius like they have with the Vikings and McConnell, I think he'd have a huge, huge year. All right, the latest on Harbaugh and the Giants. We'll talk to the man that seems to know more than anybody but Harbaugh and the Giants, and that's the Athletic's Ian O'Connor. He will join us in just a moment. It's going to be a great show. So far it has been. We thank you for being part of it. Thank you for listening on ESPN New York and for watching us on the ESPN New York YouTube channel.
Tuesday with Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. After a blowout loss to the Texans, could Mike Tomlin become a head coach option for the Giants?
I don't see him leaving Pittsburgh today to go coach the New York Giants or the Miami Dolphins or whatever. I don't see that as an option.
And who do you think has the best chance at winning the Super Bowl after Wild Card Weekend? Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg today at 3 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
More people trust their hearts to New York Presbyterian than any other hospital in New York. It's because New York Presbyterian has the most experienced cardiovascular doctors, treating a full range of heart conditions, from heart failure to valve repair, with the most advanced treatments. Find a doctor at nyp.org/heart. New York Presbyterian. New York Presbyterian Hospital, based on U.S. News & World Report 2025 to 2026 cardiology, heart, and vascular surgery rankings.
All the way over Barzell, score! New York Islanders hockey is back at UBS Arena, and it's time to bring the family and make some noise. With more afternoon games this season, the Islanders have special kids-themed games and activities for young fans. Play games pregame at the park and head inside for fun on the concourse and on the ice. Tickets for the 2025-26 season are on sale now. Get your tickets at NewYorkIslanders.com.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
Hey, sorry I missed you. Your call is very important to me. Just not as important as the New Jersey Lottery's Green Ball promotion being back on Pick 3 evening drawings. See, if the green ball's drawn, that's a free second chance to win? So, yeah, you get it. It's only through February 1st, though, so try me after then?
Must be 18 or older to buy a lottery ticket. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. For game odds and promotion details, visit njlottery.com/pick3.
Hey, hockey fans. Now with BetMGM, you can win a share of $10,000 in bonus bets when your anytime goal scorer nets 3. Enter BetMGM's Hat Trick Jackpot all season long for your chance to win some major bonus bets. It's easy. Just log in and opt into the promotion. Then make an anytime scorer bet on any hockey game of at least $10. If your player of choice scores 3 goals instead of just 1, you'll win your share of the $10K in bonus bets. There's nothing quite like watching a game with a hat trick, especially when it means you could win a share of $10,000 in bonus bets. Ready to shoot your shot? Download the app today. BetMGM. Make it legendary.
BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. New Jersey only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards or bonus bets that expire in 7 days.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN. That's ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN. ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN.
ZipRecruiter. The St. John's Red Storm go for their 3rd win in a row when they host Marquette at MSG. Coverage begins tonight at 6:10 on 880 ESPN and the ESPN New York app.
Rich Eisen here. LinkedIn Jobs is stepping things up with their new AI assistant so you can feel confident you're finding top talent. Get this. Employees hired through LinkedIn are 30% more likely to stick around for at least a year compared to those hired through the leading competitor. Hire right the first time. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/Eisen, then promote it to use LinkedIn Jobs' new AI assistant, making it easier and faster to find top candidates. That's linkedin.com/Eisen to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. And promote it to use LinkedIn Jobs' new AI assistant, making it easier and faster to find top candidates. That's linkedin.com/Eisen to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
Progressive knows there's so many great things about being a sports fan. Like scoring the company box seats. How great is that? Trick plays that actually work. Prevent defense when your team is winning by a lot. And even more preventative prevent defense as they're hanging on by a thread. And of course, saving money when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive. That's pretty great. Just like trick plays that actually work.
Yeah, but how often does that happen?
Complaining about sports, not so great. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
All right, game time brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, because when it's game time, it's Tully time. 6:30, St. John's Red Storm hosts Marquette at Madison Square Garden. Coverage will begin at 6:10 right here on ESPN New York. And at 8 p.m., the Islanders are in Winnipeg to play the Jets. So limited New York schedule. Tullamore Dew, the original triple still, triple blended, triple cask matured Irish whiskey. Be sure to grab a Tullamore Dew. Try the new Tullamore Dew Honey during today's action. Glass up to enjoying Tullamore Dew responsibly. There has been a baseball move. Right before we went on the air, Nolan Arenado has been traded from the Cardinals to the Diamondbacks. And he waived his no-trade clause. So he sees the writing on the wall with St. Louis. They're in a full rebuild under Hein Bloom. They traded Sonny Gray. Now they trade Nolan Arenado. We'll see if they trade anybody else. But Arenado goes to the Diamondbacks and waives his no-trade clause to do it. Let's go back to the phones as we wait on Ian O'Connor of The Athletic. Ernest in Brooklyn. Ernest.
Hey, how you doing, Kay? Long-time listener.
Thanks, man.
My view of the Yankees, I agree with you. The Yankees aren't cheap. The problem with the Yankees are when they're going to spend the money, instead of just spending $100 million to get the player, they say, "Oh, we got a sale, the 99-cent store," and then they spend money on a chance, and it always backfires on them. If they're going to spend the money, just spend the money. Stop trying
Ernest,
to get these bargains.
But how do you say that? They spent top dollar on Max Fried. They spent top dollar on Rodon. They spent top dollar on Cole. They spent top dollar on Aaron Judge. They didn't get bargains there.
Rodon. Remember, Rodon is injured when they spent the money on him.
No, they didn't. No, he was not. No, he was not. He was not. They gave him a 6.
Not injured?
No, he came off a great year. They gave him a 6-year contract. I mean, again, these narratives are out there. They paid top dollar for Cole. They made him the highest paid pitcher in the history of baseball at that time. They gave Aaron Judge $360 million for 9 years. They gave Max Fried an 8-year contract, making him the highest paid left-handed starting pitcher in baseball history. Come on. You're acting like they're shopping at Kohl's. No, they're shopping at Neiman Marcus. Now, you think they tried to get a deal on Juan Soto? They're offering $750 million. The Mets outbid them. They weren't trying to get a bargain. Where's the bargain that the Yankees are trying to get? Where? Makes no sense. Ernest, I love you. I thank you for listening and all that, but that makes no sense. Just because they don't go out and get every single player you want doesn't mean that they're shopping in the bargain bin. They're not. They've got so many players that make big money on the team. That's why their payroll's over $300 million. That makes no sense. I'm sorry. It makes no sense. Now, was it smart to sign Marcus Stroman? I said at the time I didn't think it was. Turned out to be a bust. That was a total waste of money. Should they have given 6 years to DJ LeMahieu? Probably not. But I knew what the Yankees are doing. They're trying to amortize the cost and put it over 6 years. He wanted $90 million. Yankees wanted to give him a 4-year deal. They said, we'll make it 6, so it only counted $15 million each year against the payroll. And now they're paying him for the final year. Years 5 and 6 weren't good. In fact, most of the contract, he wasn't what he was before they signed him. But every fan out there that complains about that dead money now, you all wanted them to sign him. Listen, if you have an interest in the Giants and you have an interest in whether or not they're going to get John Harbaugh, unless you have a direct phone line to a Mara or a Tisch or a Harbaugh, the only person that you should be following throughout all of this, and I'm not saying this because he's my friend, he has been on top of everything, and that is Ian O'Connor, the brilliant columnist from The Athletic, and I know he's super busy, nice enough to join us right now. Ian, how you doing, my friend?
Hey, I don't know if I'm the only person you should be following. That's not true, but it's very nice of you to say that, Michael.
All right, so where do we stand right now? Let me ask you a couple of questions rather than open-end it like that. Why did Chris Mara get involved? Is it because Wellington is still battling health issues and he's not able to be involved? Or has Chris ascended to a different role than we thought he had previously?
Michael, I think he has gotten more involved, and his brother John's health is, I'm sure, a factor in that. I didn't ask him that question, but it's from the outside looking in, that would be certainly a reasonable assumption. I know that in the in-person interviews, Chris has sat in, I believe, on all of them, with John, his brother, and, of course, with Steve Tisch. So Chris has been more engaged of late, no question about that. And so, yeah, it makes sense as John is undergoing treatments that Chris would be the one to make the trip down to the Baltimore area and sit with John for lunch and have a meeting with him and tell him how much the New York Giants would love for him to be the next head coach.
All right, so if you're handicapping this right now, there's so many teams that want this guy. I mean, there might be a job opening in Pittsburgh today, although we have no word of that right now. Where would you handicap this? Would you say the Giants are in the lead?
Yeah, I just did something on X a little while ago, the John Harbaugh Invitational. I had the Giants in the second round with a slight lead at 6 under. I had Atlanta and Tennessee at 5 under. Tennessee, I did think all along, Michael, that Atlanta would be the most serious threat to the Giants fans because of Matt Ryan, because of Bijan Robinson, because of really, and this might be the biggest thing, the Falcons have the easiest road to a division championship in that division, right? So, and Harbaugh knows that. But they don't have – what do you think of Penix as your future quarterback? He's had 3 ACL injuries in his college and pro career already. And is he as good as Jackson Dart and Cam Ward? Probably not. So my understanding is Tennessee is going to be right there. And the Giants, I believe – have a slight lead right now, I would say, over Tennessee and Atlanta. But there is, as I've said before, a lot of golf to be played. The in-person meetings still have to happen. The Giants, what I would say to Giants fans is you're in a really good position right now, but still have a lot of work to do.
All right, so let's get into specifics with the Mara thing. Did he just show up unannounced, or was it set up with the agent? Do you know what they ate? How long was the in-person meeting?
I think it was long because there was a lunch and a meeting. It was like, I guess the lunch was part of the meeting. It was set up. I'm sure the agent, Brian Harlan, was involved in it. And listen, John Harbaugh, he's had a lot of respect for John Mara through competition committee meetings and issues. And he understands the allure of the New York Giants and their storied place in the history of the league. And it's like that doesn't need to be sold to him. The Maras, as an ownership family, he knows, and his agent knows that they are, particularly John Mara, just widely respected around professional sports, not just the NFL. And listen, Giants fans have a right to be dissatisfied with ownership and looking at the results on the field since that second Super Bowl. The last 14 years largely have been really bad. And John Mara has to own that, and he does. He's one of the few owners, and I think you know this, Michael, who responds to emails and letters to fans because he does really feel their pain. And so he needs to be judged on that without question. But around the NFL and the way he treats people, John Mara is as revered as really anybody, and John Harbaugh is very well aware of that.
All right, so you're saying in the second round the Giants are – let me ask you this. I'm going to ask you – to be Nostradamus, how could they lose the match?
That's a great question. How can they lose this match or tournament? I think it's because my understanding is Harbaugh has looked at the team on video, the quarterback, of course, Jackson Dart. He's had someone studying these rosters of the contenders. And though he has he sees areas where the Giants need work. They were 4-13 for a reason, but he has seen things on video with particularly Jackson Dart that he's really excited about. And so is the Joe Shane thing going to be an issue? I don't think so at the end of the day, and so far it has not been. Harbaugh has liked his conversations with Joe Shane, and he does want personnel say and power. He doesn't need total control of the roster, I don't believe. Now, somebody else might tell you differently, but that's not really how John Harbaugh is wired. And look, in the past, he's had to work with Ozzie Newsome, one of the best GMs to ever do it. John didn't have absolute control of the roster, certainly when Ozzie Newsome was in place in Baltimore. And Eric DaCosta is considered one of the 5 best GMs in the league right now and was one of John's best friends, at least before he got fired. And I know I was at Harbaugh's house once, and he pointed to DaCosta's house. They're basically neighbors. So he's worked with GMs before without absolute power. So I don't think he's going to need that, but he does need to be given some say in who's going to be on his football team. And let's face it, Michael, if you're going to give this guy $20 million a year to come in, a guy who has been a consistent winner over 18 years, been to the playoffs 12 times, won 8 road playoff games. He's done everything in the past 14 years the Giants haven't done. You have to give him some say in personnel, and I do think Joe Shane realizes that.
Does the calculus change on this, Ian? And we're talking to Ian O'Connor of The Athletic, if Mike Tomlin shakes loose today from Pittsburgh?
Well, that would be fascinating. I know the Giants would be very interested in him if they weren't so far down the road with Harbaugh. But, yeah, he becomes a major player in this.
Mm-hmm.
And I, from what I've heard, Tomlin was more likely to do TV for a year and then jump in. But listen, the Giants present for him a very similar situation to what he's had in Pittsburgh for 19 years. As you know, the Rooneys and Maras are really connected by marriage, and they're very similar. Same organization, almost the way they're run with these two families. Don't want to discount the Tisches, of course. So I think Mike Tomlin understands that he would be very comfortable making the transition from Pittsburgh to New York, because it would almost be working for the same family ownership and same organization as he has for the last 19 years. So I wouldn't rule that out. And if he does enter the Derby later today, tomorrow, man, this thing is going to get very interesting.
I was interested by a post you had on X regarding Chris Mara and the time in the organization where he went outside to get the chops to become a GM, and after Ernie Accorsi, he wanted to be the GM, and Tisch said no. Since Tisch owns the same amount of the team as Mara, he said no, so it was squelched. How has he reascended? I mean, why is Tisch, if he didn't want him to be GM, allowing him to run point on this?
It's a little different now, I think, again, from the outside looking in, and I have not asked a member of ownership or the front office this question. But, again, I think because John is undergoing treatments that Chris has had to take on a bigger role. So
how old is Chris, by the way?
That's a good question. I don't know offhand, but
okay.
Still an active guy and gets around, plays golf, and more than willing and able to drive down to the Baltimore area to meet with Harbaugh. And John Mara is still involved in this process. He is. And at the end of the day, this decision will be made by John and Steve with Chris Mara's input. But John and Steve Tisch are going to make the decision with input from Joe Shane, Chris Mara, maybe some from Tim McDonald, but more Shane and Chris Mara. And I just think his role, Chris is not going to be the GM, that's for sure. His role now is enhanced because of what John is dealing with, although John is still involved. And at the end of the day, John is going to be the one who makes the call on the head coach, and and Harbaugh and his agent are very well aware of that.
My antenna went up when I heard that Tom Coughlin called up Harbaugh. So he's back. The Giants are back in his good graces after letting him go?
My understanding is, that situation has gotten better over the years as Tom Coughlin has come to terms with his departure from the Giants. He wasn't happy about it at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But, and of course, in retrospect, Giants fans look even more fondly upon his tenure, just given what's happened since he left.
Of course.
The 4 coaches they've hired have been utter failures. And the Giants have to change the formula this time around. I've been saying this from day one. There is no way, in my opinion, that they can hire someone who has not had credible head coaching experience. They have options here. Even though Stefanski has a losing record, he's not a bad consolation prize, assuming Tomlin doesn't enter the Derby, as a guy who had 2 Coach of the Year awards in Cleveland, a place it's really hard to do that, won 11 games twice. So I think he's a pretty good fallback option. Mike McCarthy is there, a guy who's got basically the same resume as John Harbaugh. It's kind of funny that nobody really looks at him in the same light, but the guy won a Super Bowl. He's won more than 60% of his games, been to the playoffs a ton of times, developed a Hall of Fame quarterback in Aaron Rodgers, and yet nobody looks at him as a Tier 1 candidate, which is a little odd. But at this point, the Giants are so in on Harbaugh. unless it's Tomlin, if they don't get John, it's going to feel like a pretty big disappointment.
And when do you think this is going to get done? Best guess.
Well, okay, let's assume the Giants hire John Harbaugh.
Right.
And I wouldn't make that assumption, by the way, but I would say the press conference would probably be, if I had to put money on it, not until like Tuesday. I think this is going to take a while.
Mm-hmm.
He still has to make his visits. His sit-down interviews still have to happen. I think he'll do that with probably 3 teams, and certainly the Giants will be one of them. I do believe they are the slight leader in the clubhouse as we sit here today, and we'll see how it plays out.
So fascinating. Before I let you go, you're my go-to for golf as well. Were you surprised that the PGA let Brooks Koepka in, although from the outside looking in, looking at the terms, really onerous punishment, losing a lot of money, and is this the end of LIV?
It might be, and I am a little surprised because Koepka always said all he cared about was the majors, and through LIV he could play in the majors with his past exemptions. So and the financial penalties that
unbelievable.
I couldn't believe, Michael, that he accepted that. Again, he was eligible for the majors, and he has sworn that was really his only focus while he was playing. So I was surprised that he took the financial penalties and basically showed that he does care about the non-majors because that's what he's going back to. But if the other stars that the PGA Tour want back, including Jon Rahm and DeChambeau, if they come back, I think it's game, set, match for LIV.
And I think DeChambeau probably can go to the LIV people and say, I want $500 million to stay. Because if like you said, if he leaves, Ian, it's over.
What if he said $1 billion?
Yeah, they'd have to give it to him.
Right. For the public investment fund, $1 billion is doable.
Right.
So it just depends how much the Saudis, how much they want to win this battle, because they have the money to win it. And it's how much do they want to spend to save face here and to save LIV, and that will be put to the test in the coming weeks.
All right, keep reading Ian in The Athletic, following him on X as well, because he's been on top of this Giant situation. Ian, thank you for the time. I know you're busy. Phone's probably blowing up.
My pleasure, Michael. Thanks for having me.
That's Ian O'Connor. Good stuff from him. Paul Finebaum at 2 o'clock. We'll take more of your phone calls when we get back. Also, Jared Carrabis is going to talk to us about the Boston Red Sox at 2:30. That'll be interesting to hear from him. K and U for 2 right here on ESPN New York.
Not all F words are bad. Some are actually great, like fast, free fiber for 4 months. Yep, switch to Optimum Fiber for as low as $25 a month. Plus, for a limited time, you can get 4 months free, HBO Max included for 1 year, and a 5-year price lock. Don't wait, this free fiber deal won't last long, and the fastest, most reliable, most consistent internet speeds await you. Call 888-4-OPTIMUM or visit Optimum.com/free today. Terms apply. See Optimum.com for details.
Tuesday with Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. After a blowout loss to the Texans, could Mike Tomlin become a head coach option for the Giants?
I don't see him leaving Pittsburgh today to go coach the New York Giants or the Miami Dolphins or whatever. I don't see that as an option.
And who do you think has the best chance at winning the Super Bowl after Wild Card Weekend? Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg today at 3 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
Are you ready?
Movies are a place of dreams, and this year, Song Sung Blue captures that spirit like no other. Based on a true story, the New York Times raves it is exactly the movie we need right now.
If you're there with me, I am not afraid anymore.
And now Kate Hudson is an Actor Award nominee for Best Actress in the Best Picture of the Year, Song Sung Blue. From Focus Features, rated PG-13, may be inappropriate for children under 13, now playing only in theaters.
Presented by Robinhood.
He crosses, spins, pulls up.
With Robinhood Prediction Markets, buy or sell your predictions all game long. No house odds, just you versus the market. Put your sports IQ to work. Trade every shot, block, steal, run, and moment that shifts the game. With Robinhood Prediction Markets, trade every play. Visit Robinhood.com/predict to start trading. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm.
At City Harvest, we believe no New Yorker has to go hungry.
With your help, we're on the road 365 days a year, rescuing over 77 million pounds of nutritious food and delivering it free to millions of New Yorkers, transforming surplus food into sustenance, sustainability, and smiles, rallying thousands of New Yorkers to power a network of nourishment across our city. One day, one meal, and one New Yorker at a time. That's how we feed good. Donate at cityharvest.org.
The St. John's Red Storm go for their third win in a row when they host Marquette at MSG. Coverage begins tonight at 6:10 on 880 ESPN and the ESPN New York app.
FanDuel is turning on playoff mode. All customers get a profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. Each game day during the divisional round, you'll find a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts waiting for you in the app. More boosts mean more ways to level up your playoff bets. Pick the matchups you believe in, take your shot on an upset, or build a parlay that fits the moment. Do you like Seattle at home after the bye? Maybe you like Denver at home to continue winning. Then apply your profit boost and go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs keep rolling. So visit FanDuel.com/local and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. 21 plus and physically present in New York, opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
Hey, fans! Welcome back to Fansville's Cheers and Tears. Oh. Okay, so like everybody deals with losing, right? To a rival on a last-second field goal. Whatever, it's fine. I'm totally fine. But I cope with losing with an ice-cold Dr. Pepper. Those 23 flavors are like so delicious. They totally wash away the pain of your college football team taking a big fat L. College football, it's a pepper thing.
Avatar Fire and Ash has arrived.
I am the fire!
Get your 3D tickets now for the greatest chapter of the biggest saga in history.
Whatever happens, protect this family.
Critics rave it's by far the best Avatar movie.
If your father and I do not return, you go as far and as fast as you can.
Movies don't get any bigger than this. Avatar Fire and Ash, rated PG-13, now playing.
The College Football Playoff National Championship. Let's go! The magical run by the 10th-ranked Miami Hurricanes continues.
There's no bad play, no bad call, no injury that we can't overcome.
When they face the top-ranked and undefeated Indiana Hoosiers.
All I can say is go IU and
Number 10 Miami versus number 1 Indiana.
Coverage begins Monday night at 6:30 on 1050 ESPN and the ESPN New York app.
All right, so Will Salmon, he covers the Mets for The Athletic. And, actually covers all of baseball for The Athletic. He says that if the New York Mets are in the range of offering $120 million to $140 million for over 3 years to free agent outfielder Kyle Tucker, as league sources on Tuesday suggested is the case, the question is whether that will be enough. It's possible that the Blue Jays or the Dodgers, two other contenders for Tucker, offer more than New York. It's also possible the Mets could go up, but they've shown a desire so far this offseason to act with some level of different discipline. Tucker's preferences for contract length in dollars, both overall and in annual average value, are unknown. Industry sources suggest that a decision from Tucker, who turns 29 on Saturday, could come as early as this week. The Mets are at least demonstrating effort and interest. They held multiple video meetings with Tucker within the last week. Now, if you're Tucker and the Mets are offering you 3 years at over $40 million a year, then you become a free agent again at the age of 32, which does not preclude you from getting another 5-year deal. Is he looking for a 10-year deal? Is that not out there? The Dodgers are not going to give a long-term deal. Maybe the Blue Jays would, but the Mets, at least, Met fans should know the Mets are in the fight. They're in the fight. Let's go to David on the east side. David.
Michael, so I'm a Yankees fan, so I'm going to look at the Mets as dispassionately as I can. I don't hate them. I don't love them. I just want to analyze what's happening here. I honestly think this is pathetic. I saw the Bill Salmon piece too. Look, I get it. No contract no long-term contract ends well. But if you want to compete as a GM in this league, you got to offer more than 3 years for a premium free agent at 27 years old. I just don't get it, and it makes me angrier about the Pete Alonso.
He's going to be 29 on Saturday.
He's going to be 29, fine.
Yeah.
But they're not willing to pay him past his age 32, 33 season at most. They weren't willing to pay Pete Alonso past his age 35 season. If I'm a Mets fan, I'm just thinking my team is not going to be able to compete on the free agent market with that and build a winner.
Well, what we said earlier, David, Friedman's quote, if you're going to be rational in free agent pursuit, you'll always finish third. But you brought in David Stearns. He's dispassionate. He's not going to make decisions based on, emotion. And this is what he values them at. Now, you can't say that they don't want to go to a longer length contract. I mean, they gave Soto a 15-year deal. So they look at Tucker and say, all right, we'll take him for 3 years. We don't want to extend that far out. Now, when you say premium free agent, well, I'll tell you this, David, where's the other team offering him a 10-year deal? Yeah, everybody, like even with the Bellinger thing, well, why don't the Yankees offer him 7? Well, who's offering him 7? Let's see. Boris might have a team that wants to offer him 7. Who's offering Tucker 8 years? The Dodgers aren't. I don't think the Blue Jays will, so why should the Mets bid against themselves? They're giving this guy a high average annual value, which I think would make him the second highest paid player in baseball, but for only 3 years. And his advantage of being 29 as of Saturday gets taken away for that 10-year deal because they look at Soto as a once-in-a-generation player. I don't think that teams look at Tucker that way. And there's no guarantee that Tucker can play and succeed in a big market. He did great in Houston. His numbers are okay other than the injury last year in Chicago, but maybe there's question about how he would handle New York, so they want to take a 3-year dip in the water rather than a 7-year dip. Again, where's the team offering him 8? You should not be bidding against yourself. Hey, boxing is back at Madison Square Garden on Saturday, January 31st for the Ring 6. Teofimo Lopez versus Shakur Stevenson. Power meets precision on boxing's biggest stage. ESPN New York has your chance to score tickets on the ESPN New York app. Just find the contest tile and submit your entry. Brought to you by Madison Square Garden. This is one fight you won't want to miss. Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com and catch every round live on DAZN. I'm going to check in with Paul Finebaum in just a moment with the upcoming national championship game, and then we'll have some fun with Jared Carrabis. We'll talk some Boston Red Sox with him at 2:30. Red Sox Nation, not happy right now. It's the K-Show right here on ESPN New York.
Hey, hockey fans. Now with BetMGM, you can win a share of $10,000 in bonus bets when your anytime goal scorer nets 3. Enter BetMGM's Hat Trick Jackpot all season long for your chance to win some major bonus bets. It's easy. Just log in and opt into the promotion. Then make an anytime scorer bet on any hockey game of at least $10. If your player of choice scores 3 goals instead of just 1, you'll win your share of the $10K in bonus bets. There's nothing quite like watching a game with a hat trick, especially when it means you could win a share of $10,000 in bonus bets. Ready to shoot your shot? Download the app today. BetMGM. Make it legendary.
BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. New Jersey only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are bonus bets that expire in 7 days.
880 ESPN, WHSQ, and WCBS-FM HD2, New York. A Good Karma Brands radio station.
Benjamin Franklin, sir, I've just received news.
Speak.
They're multiplying you.
Multiplying me?
Yes, many times.
Multiple Benjamins?
Shall I stop it?
No.
Multiply your Benjamins with New York Lottery's Extra Multiplier Scratch-Off games. Play for the chance to multiply your winnings up to 100 times. Prizes up to $3 million.
I've won! I've multiplied myself!
We won! Please play responsibly. Must be 18 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
The St. John's Red Storm go for their third win in a row when they host Marquette at MSG. Coverage begins tonight at 6:10 on 880 ESPN and the ESPN New York app.
Show your team spirit and save big only at Security Dodge during the Start Something New sales event. For a limited time, score an extra $500 off on top of all rebates and new incentives just for coming in and wearing your favorite team's jersey or swag. High school, college, or pro, football, basketball, hockey, and every sport in between. It's easy to win big at Security Dodge in Amityville. Visit us today or shop 24/7 at securitydodge.com.
Tuesday with Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. After a blowout loss to the Texans, could Mike Tomlin become a head coach option for the Giants?
I don't see him leaving Pittsburgh today to go coach the New York Giants or the Miami Dolphins or whatever. I don't see that as an option.
And who do you think has the best chance at winning the Super Bowl after Wild Card Weekend? Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg today at 3 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
1 in every 6 men is likely to be diagnosed with prostate cancer in his lifetime. That's why New York Presbyterian wants to remind men over 50 to book a prostate cancer screening. A simple blood test is all it takes. It could save your life. Screenings are available across New York City and Westchester at locations near you. Schedule your annual prostate cancer screening today at nyp.org/cancer screening. Stay amazing. New York Presbyterian.
Every 40 seconds, a child is reported missing. That's 2,000 children every single day. It's a heart-wrenching reality that we can no longer ignore. Find the Children is a non-profit organization dedicated to helping find missing kids. You can be a part of their mission by donating your unwanted vehicle, running or not. Call 1-800-294-0222. We guarantee that you will receive the maximum tax deduction. We provide fast, free pickup with 24-hour response. Call 1-800-294-0222. Find the Children provides crucial resources to help find missing children and educational materials to teach kids how to recognize and avoid predators. Our recovery programs have a proven track record of reuniting kids with their families. It's time to act. Donate your unwanted or unused car. Help us build a world where every child is safe. Pick up the phone and call 1-800-294-0222. Together, we can bring these kids home safely. This advertisement was paid for in partnership with Cars R Us and Find the Children.
Welcome back to the show, 203 here in New York City. Michael K. with you until 3, Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg at that point. All right, we have the national championship game set up. It's Miami against Indiana. I'd like to know the pundit who came up with that at the beginning of the year, and that was the prediction, Miami against Indiana. I as much as I respect Paul Finebaum, I don't even think that he did, and he joins us now. Paul, this is a shocker if you go back, 6 months, right?
Michael, there's not a single person that predicted it. In fact, I saw a list of the ESPN's top 20 experts, and no one even came close. Most people had Clemson, Penn State, LSU, Ohio State, Georgia. Almost nobody came within a million miles of this game.
What does it mean for college football that Miami, used to be a powerhouse, hasn't been a national champion battler for a while, that they're in this game?
It's a very good story. You always hear commentators say when Notre Dame plays well or somebody, it's good for the game. It's good for the game in this sense because Miami has such a deep following. It also is littered with A-listers, and when you're watching the game Monday night, you will see celebrities who probably haven't been to a Miami game in 20 years show up. But it's as you know, Miami is such a celebrity-laden city. So, I mean, from that standpoint, it really is good. And Miami has been on the precipice for a couple of years of breaking through. They just haven't been able to do it. But the other side of this is, I mean, there are no words to explain Indiana. I could try, but I couldn't pull it off.
Now, it seems from the outside looking, and I don't know how much you've dealt with him personally, that Cignetti seems like a curmudgeon. Doesn't seem like he's having fun at all. Is that an act or is that real?
I think it's real. He's he's somewhat of a late bloomer. He's part of the Nick Saban tree. He went to Alabama when Saban got there. He was a recruiting coordinator, was a wide receiver coach. And then he decided, I'm going to try it on my own. And he went to a bunch of small schools where he was incredibly successful. But when he went to Indiana a couple of years ago from James Madison, nobody cared. It was like a big yawn. He took most of his team with him. And quite frankly, if you had told me 2 years ago that he'd be playing for a national championship, there isn't a number you could have put on it. It was simply, there's just no way.
I always wonder about this, Paul, how many Curt Cignettis are out there that never really get the opportunity, and their life just goes by and their career goes by and they never got the big shot. Cignetti is that guy, and it just shows that colleges, for the most part, they don't know who they're hiring. They can't uncover the diamond in the rough like Indiana did.
No, I mean, most hire a high coordinator or an ascending coach from a group of 5 school, and quite frankly, most of them don't work. And there are some exceptions, but if you had, there's almost no way you could have predicted this, because even though he had won championships at another level, so have a million other coaches who have failed and flopped miserably.
Well, this breaking news here, Paul, Adam Schefter reporting that Mike Tomlin is stepping down. So he's been the longest tenured NFL coach. That's now Andy Reid, who's been with the Chiefs since 2013. So he informed the team he is stepping down as the Steelers coach, and the Steelers will be looking for only their 4th head coach since 1969. Kind of a shocker there, Paul, and you wonder how that affects the Giants' pursuit of Harbaugh. Does he all of a sudden become just as desired as John Harbaugh, or does he become a TV broadcaster? Because that's the big rumor out there, too.
Yeah, I mean, I think almost all indications are that he will step back. I think for a couple of years now, as you know, Michael, I mean, he's looked tired. He's looked worn out. And I would think dealing with Aaron Rodgers is enough to lead anybody to stepping down. But, yeah, I think again, it's hard to say there are so many opportunities, though, and there are not always great opportunities. There's always bad opportunities in the NFL, like the Raiders or someone like that. So I don't want to say that he's definitely out. It's interesting how quickly a new franchise with upside can be attractive to a guy who seems very beaten down like he does.
Absolutely. Now, getting back to the college angle, Trinidad Chambliss was going for a 6-year of eligibility. He's turned down. Why did they turn him down? And now he's going to file suit against the NCAA. Why is he so dead set on staying at Ole Miss when he probably would get drafted by an NFL team?
Yeah, he was turned down because they claimed there was not documentation supporting what apparently was an illness that kept him from playing. But remember, he was at Ferris State. I'm not even sure I can tell you where that is, but that's where he was playing a year ago, winning a national championship. And I think what he did in the playoffs, he probably would be better off going to the NFL. I mean, he was the most dynamic quarterback in the playoffs. He was almost unstoppable. And in fact, he led in that game the other night in the Fiesta Bowl. I mean, he led Ole Miss to touchdowns on the final 2 drives. They just they gave up. Their defense let them down, not the offense. So I think he'll wait this out. But ultimately, I think you're right. The NFL quarterback draft is pretty weak.
Do you think that was pass interference on the Hail Mary at the end?
Well, absolutely. There was no doubt about that. But I've seen officials make weird calls, but I think that was a really tough one to make because there was so much activity going on by both of the people.
Did Dante Moore hurt his possible draft status? Is there a chance he comes out, or does he say, "Hey, I didn't perform that well in that game, so maybe I need another year"?
He hurt himself, but you know NFL people. I don't think they're going to put enormous stock on this game. He was up against a ferocious defense. He got off to the most miserable start, but he's still projected as a second quarterback. So I can't imagine, even as big as the game was, they're going to let that keep someone from drafting him. I think he's staying in.
And Carson Beck, what do you think his status is? Is he an NFL player in your opinion?
I think he's marginal. And just to show you how smart the NFL people are, a year and a half ago, he was ranked as the #1 prospect. I think he's better than average. I think he to me, looks like a journeyman. He does not look like a difference maker. Somebody will take a chance on him, but I wouldn't.
Good stuff, Paul. Thank you for joining us, as always, on this Tuesday. We appreciate your time, man.
Michael, pleasure. Thank you.
You got it. That's Paul Finebaum. Now, Mel Kiper Jr. was on with DiPietro and Rothenberg, and the guys asked him, what would you advise Dante Moore to do?
This is why it's very difficult. I think myself, you need to go back. But if he doesn't and he comes out, then everybody's going to be sitting there. Certainly after the second pick, you get into the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 10th pick range. There are going to be teams screaming to move up and get this guy. So again, that's why the Jets sitting at 2 will have to figure all that out and then reconcile it and obviously meet with Dante, go through the process up until April 23rd with Dante, and to see if they want to go that route.
All right, now, also Mel was asked if Trinidad Chambliss does enter the draft and does not get that extra year of eligibility, where would he go?
First round, I would think. I mean, the first round quarterbacks over the years, just look at some of them. He's more talented. Is he 6'3", 6'4"? No. But, the kid's 23. I mean, he's not 21. He's been around. He's Ferris State. He did a great, dominated that level. He goes to Ole Miss. He was going to go to Temple, and then he went to Ole Miss, and he was a backup to Simmons. Simmons gets hurt. He gets a chance, and look what he did. So he's going to have, I think it's 28 starts, but you say, well, it's Ferris State. But they're still, that's college. That's college football starts. It's a lower level, but it still starts. That's why he wants another year. That would be the tough call between Simpson and Trinidad Chambliss. If in fact Trinidad Chambliss is in this draft, which we have to wait and see how it plays out in court.
All right. While we were talking with Paul Finebaum, Adam Schefter reports that Mike Tomlin has stepped down as a Steeler head coach, and we've been telling you, we aren't the only ones who have been telling you this. He was never going to get fired. That's not how that organization does its business. Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and Mike Tomlin since 1969. It's extraordinary. That's an extraordinary run of consistency. So who's going to be their next coach? And if he wants to coach and is not seduced by television, do the Giants change their aim? Do they want Tomlin as much as they want John Harbaugh? Now, the interesting thing is they're so far down the road with Harbaugh that if they do show some interest in Tomlin now, and it's close for Harbaugh between the Giants and other teams, do you get Harbaugh ticked off where, all right, the Giants are out? Does he want to be the only girl at the dance? Does he not want that girl dancing with other people? So it's an interesting conundrum. I think that since you're this far down the road with him, you can't have a dalliance with somebody else. And if Tomlin is dead set, at least now, on not grabbing another job, well, the Giants should go hard after Harbaugh. And then if Harbaugh takes a job with Atlanta or takes a job with Tennessee, then you pivot and you throw the world at Mike Tomlin. The Giants, we've had Ian O'Connor of The Athletic, they are high on Tomlin. I mean, Tomlin is a pro. He's a great coach. His record speaks for itself. 19 years in one place. He's played for the Rooneys. The Rooneys, Chris Mara is married to a Rooney. So there's a connection between the Maras and the Rooneys, longtime NFL families. Has the calculus just changed with Mike Tomlin stepping down? And now the Pittsburgh job is open. But I don't know if the Pittsburgh job is a job that would attract like a Harbaugh. First of all, he played against them two times a year for 18 years, and they don't have a quarterback. So that does not make it that attractive a job. Now, I have a really good defense, but they are, at square one with a quarterback. What do they do? What do they do? Now, we're hearing that LaFleur is negotiating a long-term deal to stay in Green Bay, but until it's signed, that's still up in the air as well. This is a new age in the NFL. There's no more patience. There's no more 5-year plans. You have to get it done right away. That's why the second year that Aaron Glenn is getting is actually an outlier now. Coaches that perform the way Aaron Glenn did in the first year, they're hanging by a thread. And I think they are, but I think Woody doesn't want to have egg on his face after having given Aaron Glenn 5 years, $50 million. So think about all the coaches that are available now that are attractive, right? Harbaugh, Tomlin, Stefanski, McCarthy, McDonald, all of them. Jets are out on all of them because they have somebody in place. So are there going to be as desirable choices next year if you cut bait with Aaron Glenn? I wonder. I wonder if there will. Did they miss out on the year where all the big names and all the delectable available coaches are there for you and they've got somebody in place that they're committed to? Now, if Aaron Glenn showed you something that you said, wow, he's something else, well, that's one thing. He didn't. He didn't. I'm sorry. Marcus Spears, who was a teammate of Aaron Glenn, he said last week, you know what? I'd have a hard time keeping him after that season. But the Jets are holding firm, and while they hold firm, they're missing out on a chance at all of these great, great coaches. 1-800-919-3776. Also, we looked it up. Chris Mara is 69 years old. He's a younger brother to John 71. Let's go to Dan in New Jersey. Dan, talk to us.
Hey, Michael, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. First of all, quickly, I think the Yankees should stop going for Bellinger and get Bichette, but I wanted to talk about, I don't think the Giants should go after Mike Tomlin, especially considering that Pittsburgh still holds his rights and you have to trade something to get him when you could get a guy who, in my opinion, is just as good as Harbaugh. But I wouldn't go for Harbaugh either. I would go for Grant Udinski, this young coordinator from Jacksonville, who seems like a brilliant offensive mind. He's from the McVay coaching tree. I don't think they should go for a retread. Even though some of these names are highly appealing, I think they need an offensive guru to work with Jackson Dart. And I don't want Greg Roman running the Giants' offense.
Well, I mean, I don't think Greg Roman is part of the equation. And Dan, I respectfully disagree. The last thing they need is to take a chance on a young coordinator. It's the last thing they need. How did it work out with McAdoo? How did it work out with Judge? How did it work out with Dable? They need an established presence to bring order back into the room. That's all there is to it. They need somebody to bring order back into the room. I would not go. It was the most glittering, highly thought of coordinator. That's not for the Giants to do this time. They need an adult in the room. They can't afford to have somebody come in and have a bad year because there is a growth aspect to it. Look at Aaron Glenn, a brilliant defensive coordinator with the Lions. It's different in that seat. No, I would not. They do not, should not. And you could bring in John Harbaugh, who was part of the development of Lamar Jackson. That worked out pretty well. The guy won 2 MVPs. So just because you bring in Harbaugh doesn't mean that he can't bring in a great offensive coordinator and he can't be hands-on with Jackson Dart. Let's go to Tony in Dobbs Ferry. Tony.
Mike, please, you're a really intelligent guy. I love listening to you. You have to make something make sense to me. I'm a big Jets fan. I'm a big Jets fan. I don't understand how the Jets, it's almost criminal that the Jets, you're going to tell me you're going to go into next season again with Aaron Glenn as their coach, when I could name names of Stefanski, Tomlin, Harbaugh, Joe Brady, Mike LaFleur, the list goes on and on, of offensive minds who the Jets have the number 2 pick in the draft, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Aaron Glenn came in as supposed to be this defensive guru. The defense has regressed. Our key defensive players got worse this season. They didn't get better. Okay, these are all facts. This isn't me, an angry fan. These are all facts, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So now we're going to trust him with the number 2 pick in the draft, whether it's Dante Moore, whether we trade back, which I think we should do. And we're going to trust him moving forward when Woody Johnson has a who's who of names available. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to come to the Jets. I don't know if they will. I don't know if they won't. But with Aaron Glenn as the head coach, there's no chance that they will. There's no chance.
Listen,
the guy should be fired.
I said it just before you called in, Tone. I understand what you're feeling, and I think it comes down to this. Woody does not like being made fun of. And after firing Saleh, who's having a renaissance now, doing a great job with an injury-ravaged 49ers team, doesn't mean that he'd be a good head coach, but after firing Saleh and having this long, drawn-out coaching search and then picking Aaron Glenn and giving him $50 million guaranteed dollars over 5 years, if he cuts bait after one season, he's going to look like an absolute fool. And I think he's too sensitive to look like an absolute fool. He wants to show you he's right. And I also don't think it's fair to get rid of somebody after 1 year. As bad as Aaron Glenn was, I mean, can you really do that? Because Bill Parcells would have never become Bill Parcells if the Giants did it. And George Young wanted to do it. He wanted to bring in Howard Schnellenberger after that terrible first season by Bill Parcells. If you really had a conviction that Aaron Glenn's the guy, it doesn't look good to cut bait after 1 year, but I do understand what you're saying, Tony. There's so many great coaches that are out there, and you're missing the boat because of your allegiance and your commitment to Glenn. That's all there is to it. Well, the Steelers have made the move, and Mike Tomlin is no longer there. Now, also, a previous caller said you have to give compensation to the Steelers. I don't think they would do that to Mike Tomlin. I just don't think they would do that. And also, if he goes to TV, well, for 1 year to reset, remember, Bill Cowher was going to go to TV for a short time and get a job, too. TV's pretty comfortable. You make a lot of money. You don't stand out there freezing cold unless the network decides it's a good idea to have a pregame show on the field, and you don't have the pressure of winning or losing. So he might not ever coach again. Let's go to Danny in Long Island, our official Steelers expert. Danny, are you happy about this?
Well, the Steelers fans have been looking forward to this day for a while, but there's no joy. Mike Tomlin was a good coach for a long period of time. He represented the organization well. He wasn't a clown show. And it's a sad moment because at the end of an era, my youngest son is 22 years old. He only knows one coach. My oldest son is 38. He only knows two. So it's a sad moment. It's one I'm glad happened because one of the local Steeler papers I read this morning said by 9:30 or 10 o'clock last night in a cold night in Pittsburgh, there wasn't a person either watching or in the building who knew what didn't have to be done, what had to be done today. It was time. Sometimes it's just time. And I said to somebody, it's like finding out that your 100-year-old aunt that you hadn't seen in about 10 years passed away in her sleep. It's sad, but it's okay. It was a great run. And they really laid it on the line last night. It's not an unblemished run. 7 straight playoff losses ties an NFL record. He had 5 playoff wins in his first 3 years. To be fair, coaching Bill Cowher's team.
Right.
And I said on this morning, I'm watching Rodgers on the sideline, and I'm thinking, Rodgers beat Tomlin in the Super Bowl in 2010. Can you imagine that after that, him and Roethlisberger and Rodgers played a combined 26 seasons, and neither one of them made it back to the Super Bowl? You would have bet your house that you would have seen either of those guys after 2010 return to a Super Bowl, and neither one got back. It is not an easy thing to do once. And when we've lived through Mahomes, and forget Brady needs a bronze. You can't do enough to praise what he did. It's not easy. And you look at Rodgers, he's done. Tomlin, old. We need fresh blood. And I am not signing Mike Tomlin because he is an old school defensive coach. When you bring Arthur Smith, who convinces you that 3 tight end offenses and 1 wide receiver, who to me is not a burner, is enough to lead a team to the playoffs because you think you have the greatest defense. And remember, they re-signed T.J. Watt. That's going to haunt them. They re-signed, a lot of bad draft choices over the years. He is a defense-first-minded coach. You need to hire somebody who looks like he's 28 years old with the protractor, who knows how to get people open and scheme people open. We've been hearing for years that the Steelers' offensive their patterns they run are high schoolish. That and if Tomlin knows that you can't win without a real quarterback, I would be surprised if he goes anywhere that doesn't have an established franchise quarterback, because he just spent 5 years trying to replace a franchise quarterback.
That's what I wanted to say to you, Dan. You said, well, time has run out. I mean, who's going to win without a quarterback? I mean, they haven't had a quarterback since Roethlisberger. And Rodgers is the best one, and they did get into the playoffs with him, but they got whacked. So whoever they bring in, if they don't have a quarterback, they're not going to win either.
Listen, they got the Ohio State quarterback that won the national championship last year. There's no rhyme or reason as to when these kids are good or bad. He won the national championship throwing dimes all over the yard in the highest possible scenarios in front of the world. He's a big kid. He reminds me of Roethlisberger. Can we let the kid have a chance? Because you can't keep plugging in stopgaps year after year after year. There's Gruden thought that this kid, Will Howard, was better than Dart. Can we give the kid a legitimate coach, a legitimate offensive game plan, and see what he can do? Because he has performed at the highest level. He's not saying he's as good as the kid from Indiana, but he's better than the kid from some of these other colleges that are getting drafted this year. So you have to let this kid play, just like the Giants have to let Dart play.
Well, they're going to have to see who they hire and if that coach likes Will Howard. So Will Howard dropped in the draft, though. You're saying, he won a national championship with Ohio State. There are a lot of quarterbacks that won national titles in college, and they don't pan out in the pros. So the next coach, whoever that may be for the Steelers, are they in on Will Howard? If not, then they're going to have to go find another quarterback. Jared Carrabis is going to join us to talk about what's happening with the Red Sox and Red Sox Nation and how angry they are, so stay tuned for that. Hey, FanDuel is turning on playoff mode. All customers get a profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. Each game day during the divisional round, you'll find a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts waiting for you in the app. More boosts means more ways to level up your playoff bets. Pick the matchups you believe in, take your shot on an upset, or build a parlay that fits the moment. Do you like Seattle over San Francisco at home after the bye? Maybe you like Buffalo to keep riding Josh Allen over Denver. Well, then apply your profit boost and go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs keep rolling. So visit FanDuel.com/local and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. 21 plus, physically present in New York, opt-in required, bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. But with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369.
Hey, New York and New Jersey, commitment issues? No problem. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $25 a month forever, as in for life. Switch now at boostmobile.com. After 30 gigabytes, you may experience slower speeds. Pay $25 a month as long as you stay on the Boost Mobile Unlimited plan.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now, 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS.
1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too?
Focus Features presents the film Hamnet from director Chloe Zhao and producers Steven Spielberg and Sam Mendes. Discover the untold story behind Shakespeare's greatest masterpiece. Winner of more audience awards than any film this year, Hamnet is a monumental cinematic experience. And now it's the Critics' Choice Award winner for Best Actress, Jessie Buckley. Hamnet is the best picture of the year. Hamnet, rated PG-13, may be inappropriate for children under 13. Now playing only in theaters.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hardworking partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
The St. John's Red Storm go for their third win in a row when they host Marquette at MSG. Coverage begins tonight at 6:10 on 880 ESPN and the ESPN New York app.
Health surprises can change your life in an instant. You've seen it happen to others, but it doesn't have to be your story. At Princeton Longevity Center, we customize actionable and proactive health plans to maximize your lifespan and take control of your health. Our Cancer Check program combines cutting-edge technology with top medical expertise to keep you ahead of potential risks. With advanced full-body imaging, genetic testing, and multi-cancer detection blood tests, we look for even the earliest signs of problems. Results are analyzed by expert physicians who craft a personalized plan to safeguard your future. You're not just a patient, you're a partner in your health journey, backed by a team committed to helping you live longer, healthier, and more vibrantly. Our programs have saved hundreds of lives and empowered countless others to take control of their health. Be proactive with your health for the ultimate peace of mind. Call 888-8000-PLC or visit PrincetonLongevityCenter.com.
Hey, sorry I missed you. Your call is very important to me. Just not as important as the New Jersey Lottery's Green Ball promotion being back on Pick 3 evening drawings. See, if the green ball's drawn, that's a free second chance to win? So, yeah, you get it. It's only through February 1st, though, so try me after then?
Must be 18 or older to buy a lottery ticket. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. For game odds and promotion details, visit njlottery.com/pick3.
As America's #1 motorcycle insurer, Progressive has your back.
Oh, like roadside assistance?
Oh yeah, Progressive offers that.
Great. Do you have plans Saturday? My cousin canceled and I'd love to have someone to ride with.
Actually, we just do insurance, not riding buddies.
Cool, let's meet at noon. Actually, scratch that. 10 a.m., you and me, breakfast at a diner.
To be clear, Progressive has your back for insurance only. So get a quote and see if you can save.
Okay, so if you beat me there, get me the Lumberjack Special. We can share.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Roadside assistance may require comprehensive coverage.
Rich Eisen here. Hiring for your small business can feel like a full-time job, but LinkedIn Jobs AI Assistant takes the heavy lifting out of it. It filters applicants based on the criteria you set and suggests 25 great fit candidates daily so you can invite them to apply and keep things moving. Hire right the first time. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/Eisen, then promote it to use LinkedIn Jobs' new AI Assistant, making it easier and faster to find top candidates. That's linkedin.com/Eisen to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Then promote it to use LinkedIn Jobs' new AI Assistant, making it easier and faster to find top candidates. That's linkedin.com/Eisen to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
All right, so much stuff going on in sports. This is one of those times where it's tough to just have 2 hours, but Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg will take over at 3 o'clock. We mentioned the Red Sox lose out on Bregman. Signs with the Cubs, and Red Sox Nation is very, very unhappy. I like Jared Carrabis. He does a great job. He's opinionated. He knows his stuff. He's got a podcast, Baseball is Dead, Section 10 pod, contributes to the MLB Network, Nesson, 98.5, the Sports Hub, a lot of stuff. And Jared's nice enough to join us now and spill some of his blood out on the airwaves here in New York. Jared, how are the people of Red Sox Nation feeling today?
Michael, I think we've gone past the acceptance stage of what happened with Alex Bregman, and now everyone is kind of in the anger and rage part of the phase. And I feel like I'm getting the brunt of it. I don't know why. Actually, no, I do know why. It's unfair, but I mean, I think it's more just because I'm a forward-facing guy out here in Boston. People are like, you know the ownership group, so we're just going to attack you over this. And it's like, all right, well, let's have it out.
Well, let's talk about the ownership group, because somehow they got rid of Devers' contract, got rid of the $40 million they were paying Bregman, and they have not put any of it back into the team. And I said this yesterday, and I said at the beginning of the show, Jared. Yankee fans' narrative of late for the last couple of years, the Yankees are cheap. Well, I mean, they have an over $300 million payroll. You could actually say the Red Sox are cheap.
There's about a $100 million gap between the Yankees and the Red Sox,
and there shouldn't be,
as it currently stands. Right, like it's gotten a little out of hand, I think. If the Red Sox were able to re-sign Alex Bregman, which I think it's pathetic that now it's starting to come out, like, now that Bregman's with the Cubs, the reports are, well, maybe the Red Sox preferred Bo Bichette all along. Like, no, they didn't. Alex Bregman was the guy, and they made their best shot. They called Boris's bluff, and they were like, yeah, we think we have the best offer. And Boris was like, you don't have the best offer. We're prepared to sign with this other team. The Red Sox are like, go for it. If there's a better offer, why don't you just take it? And they're like, okay. And then they did. So I think that there's a lot of angry folks over at Fenway Park today and in recent days because of this. You brought up the Rafael Devers thing. I mean, I get it if that was a player that you yourself acquired via trade, and then it's like, man, this contract stinks. Let's try and get out from under it. You're the ones that gave him the contract in the first place.
Yep.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, the contract sucks. The contract is the one that you gave him, what, a year ago? 2 years ago? And now you're trying to get out from under it, and you get not even pennies on the dollar. They got essentially nothing. They got salary relief in exchange for Rafael Devers. Like, the no disrespect to the human beings that were involved in the trade, but that was not a baseball trade. That was a salary dump. Same thing as Mookie Betts. So to your point, what have they done to reinvest the money? Nothing. Because you can say, well, Sonny Gray costs money. Yeah, but you replace Lucas Giolito. Lucas Giolito costs money too, so you're kind of just offsetting it there. Well, you bring in Wilson Contreras. Good player. That's a Band-Aid. That's an absolute Band-Aid. You know, I think when we went into this offseason, Michael, it was, we need a number 2 starting pitcher, and let's get someone at first base. Hopefully it's Pete Alonso, and let's bring back Alex Bregman. Instead, you got 1 year of Sonny Gray, you got 1 year of Wilson Contreras, and no Alex Bregman.
And what's probably frustrating to Red Sox fans is that it's poor Sam Kennedy has to be the front-facing guy that has to answer these questions. John Henry doesn't talk. So why do the Boston Red Sox that own Nesson, that own the ballpark, have a $240 million payroll when the Yankees and the Blue Jays have higher payrolls in the same division and the Orioles are getting close to their number 2? So why doesn't John Henry speak?
I think the last time he spoke publicly, that was when I hosted the Red Sox Fan Fest, and I asked him, man to man, are the Red Sox still a priority to you? That was the question that I asked. I said, there's a portfolio here. You've got the Penguins. At the time, they've since sold them. You've got, PGA golf. You've got Liverpool, which is obviously a huge interest of his. And are we kind of just the forgotten child of the Fenway Sports Group portfolio? And he looked at his watch, and there were different interpretations as to what he meant by that, as in, how long do I still have to be up here? Like, is this crazy that I have to answer questions like this? Other people interpreted that gesture as, how long have I owned the team? 20 years, and you're asking me if I still care about the Red Sox? So it's open to interpretation. I think that he did show a little bit of I still care last year when he flew to Kansas City to confront Rafael Devers face-to-face. And I gave you $313.5 million, and you're going to tell me that you're not going to move over to first base? Like, you work for me, buddy. I think that he showed a little bit of I care. But when you lose out on Alex Bregman, you self-inflicted all of this. All of this problem was self-inflicted. You bring in Bregman, you upset Raffy. Raffy's now traded in a salary dump, and then you lose Bregman in free agency to the Cubs over presumably, let's call it $10 million in the no-trade clause. They try to puff their chest and say, we're the Boston Red Sox. We don't do no-trade clauses. That's not true. You gave one to Chris Sale. You gave one to Dustin Pedroia. You make exceptions for certain stars. Wouldn't you make an exception for the guy that you traded, the franchise player, the highest paid contract in Red Sox history? You traded that guy to accommodate this player. He's not worthy of a no-trade clause exception. It's a lot of BS, Michael.
Also, the thing that I laugh about with no-trade clause is if that's a hill you're going to die on, everybody with a no-trade clause could be traded. I mean, Nolan Arenado just got traded. Give the guy the no-trade clause if he's just because Jack Curry was on the hot stove with me last night, and he said he ran into Alex Cora at the winter meetings. He said, what are you guys doing this year? And he said one word, Bregman. That was it. Bregman. That's what they were doing this winter, and they didn't get that done. So if they don't pivot and sign Bichette, Jared, are they the fourth-place team in the American League East?
I think it's tough to really knock them down that much.
Mm-hmm.
They're not first or second. I think that they would be competing for third place. Yeah, because, I mean, at the end of the day, you're talking about, a 90-win team that, like I said earlier, you flop out Sonny Gray and Lucas Giolito, and then, Alex Bregman, who played whatever it was, 90, 100 games, whatever it was, for Wilson Contreras, who is a good defender and a good hitter. So it's like you didn't get any better. You got slightly worse, and that's still roughly a 90-win team. Plus, I'd like to factor in Roman Anthony, a full season of Roman Anthony. He didn't get called up to start the year. He got hurt and missed September at the end of the year. So a full season of hopefully a better version of Roman Anthony. You could, and I'll get crucified for saying this, you still could be a 90-win team. So where does 90 wins get you in this division is more so the question. I don't think it's going to be fourth place, but you might be contending for third, no doubt.
So what's the likelihood of it looks like the Phillies might be in the lead now with Bichette, and the Red Sox seem loath to give out long-term contracts, and I think it's going to take at least 7 years to get Bichette. Would they do that out of desperation because their fan base is so angry?
Yeah, I mean, they do oftentimes respond to negative feedback amongst the fan base. I mean, that's kind of how the Rafael Devers extension came about in the first place. You know, John Henry, as the legend goes, showed up to the Winter Classic at Fenway and got booed out of his own building, and then he was like, man, we got to do something about this fan reaction. And there you go. Rafael Devers is the richest player in Red Sox history. But with Bo Bichette, I would like to sit here and tell you that the Red Sox are going to pivot and sign this player to play second base and everything's going to be all right and the lineup's going to look better. But if you look at the spending behavior of the Ricketts and the Cubs, if you got outbid by that team for a guy that was priority number one, on what planet are you going to outspend Dave Dombrowski and Brian Cashman for plan B? Like, how does that make sense? How do you connect those dots? Maybe if there is some ownership anger towards Craig Breslow for not getting the job done, maybe if that exists, then John Henry, wants to fire up the cigar on Instagram again and be like, hey, look, I opened up the wallet. But nothing about how this team has behaved over the last few years. I mean, it's basically since their biggest free agent signing in the last half decade was like Trevor Story, and that's only because he fell into their laps. Right. He wanted to sign with the Rangers. So they haven't gone out and identified the player and gotten the player from a free agent spending perspective probably since JD Martinez. And that was $110 million that we're talking about.
Talking with Jared Carrabis here on the Michael K. Show. Jared, the way the team is constructed, I would assume that there's no interest whatsoever in Bellinger and Tucker, right? They don't need an outfielder.
Yeah. So I Coley, who does Section 10 with me, he floated this idea. I mean, this is not like an internal thought process. This was just an idea. But if you were able to pivot and sign Kyle Tucker, then you could trade one or two outfielders to replenish the farm system that you've had to deplete to even field the team. As a reminder to everyone listening, the Red Sox have spent $0 in free agency. So all of their additions for the 2026 roster have had to come via trade. And instead of compiling their prospect capital into one deal to go out and get a stud like Joe Ryan or something like that, they've spread them out in all these other little deals to get complementary players. In no disrespect, but when you're here for a year, you're a complementary piece. You're not a core foundational piece.
Well, Jared, I think it's unfair that you're getting all the heat. You didn't make these decisions. It's just not right. I don't like it. Because I support Jared Carrabis. I really do. Why are they jumping you?
Wow,
I really don't
we're a
understand
united front.
I don't get it.
You know what it is? It's because I do the Red Sox alternate broadcast with Jonathan Papelbon and Alana Rizzo, and they're like, "You take a paycheck from John Henry. You're a mouthpiece," and I'm like, "Buddy, it's a fun little side gig that I do." The day that ownership tries to silence me or police what I say is the day that I walk away from any type of side gig that is telling me what I can or can't say.
Well, you know what? The general public, I mean, not that you need me to tell you, I've been living this for all these years. They don't think that you could work for somebody and be critical of them. So the fact that you're actually overly critical of the Red Sox and you are getting paid by them shows you that you're your own man.
That's me. That's me,
you.
Michael.
That's you.
I'm glad. I feel seen today.
Well, you are. You are seen here in New York City. Jared, thank you so much for coming on, man. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Michael. Talk soon.
You got it. That's Jared Carrabis. So they are upset in Boston. If Yankee fans think they're upset, if Met fans think they're upset, Red Sox fans are doubly, triply, quadruply upset. We'll come back. A lot of stuff to talk about as we lead you to Don Holland Rosenberg. We're going to take phone calls, 1-800-919-3776. It's the K Show till 3 on ESPN New York.
If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, then you need a lawyer who knows New York's unique personal injury and workers' compensation laws. At the Parisman Firm, they have decades of experience handling all types of accident cases and a proven track record of delivering huge results. Their team has already recovered nearly $1 billion for injured New Yorkers. From construction to car accidents and slips and falls, they've got you covered. Call the Parisman Firm now at 718-WORKERS, where your case is their cause. Get the justice you deserve today.
Show your team spirit and say big only at Security Dodge during the Start Something New sales event. For a limited time, score an extra $500 off on top of all rebates and new incentives, just for coming in and wearing your favorite team's jersey or swag. High school, college, or pro, football, basketball, hockey, and every sport in between. It's easy to win big at Security Dodge in Amityville. Visit us today or shop 24/7 at securitydodge.com.
To the net. Score! The New York Islanders are back in action with a brand new theme night schedule you won't want to miss. Bring your friends out for the holidays and take home a custom holiday replica jersey, or arrive early for special bobblehead giveaway nights for Matt Barzell and Bo Horvat. Barzell for Horvat. Score! Explore the full theme night schedule at NewYorkIslanders.com.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now, there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team. Build it sooner. ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN right now to try it for free, and you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
More people trust their hearts to New York Presbyterian than any other hospital in New York. It's because New York Presbyterian has the most experienced cardiovascular doctors, treating a full range of heart conditions, from heart failure to valve repair, with the most advanced treatments. Find a doctor at nyp.org/heart. New York Presbyterian. New York Presbyterian Hospital, based on U.S. News & World Report 2025 to 2026 cardiology, heart, and vascular surgery rankings.
Looking for the best meat and seafood at unbeatable prices? Get to Wild Fork Foods. They offer the widest selection of meats and seafoods you'll find anywhere. Everything is blast frozen to lock in flavor and nutrients. From beef and poultry to seafood, pork, and even exotic and game meats, you'll get the best value for your buck. Visit one of their 7 locations across Long Island and New Jersey, or order online for same-day delivery at wildforkfoods.com. Wild Fork Foods, your neighborhood's meat and seafood market.
A SoFi personal loan is here to help you achieve something once thought impossible: overcoming high-interest credit card debt. Walk the tightrope of your finances with one low, fixed-rate monthly payment, no fees required, and as soon as the same-day funding. That's right. Pull off your own debt-defying stunt with a SoFi personal loan. Visit SoFi.com/trick to learn more. Loans originated by SoFi Bank, N.A., member FDIC. Terms and conditions apply. NMLS 696891.
Smalls here. Life is full of choices, some big, some small. And when you choose an H&R Block Tax Pro, you're choosing the largest network of tax expertise to be in your corner. For when your big ambitions need help with the small details. For when your 6 figures come from 6 different places. For when your gaming stream becomes your revenue stream. For when your business's year 1 needs 70 years of tax know-how. At H&R Block, they've seen it all. And they're here to help you make the most out of your money for life outside the box.
In the city that never sleeps and never stops talking sports, ESPN New York is always on. Now you can live and breathe everything New York sports wherever you are. On your radio dial, on the ESPN New York app, and streaming live on YouTube. However you watch or listen, ESPN New York is always on for you. Hear us, stream us, watch us. This is ESPN New York.
Well, Chris Stapleton's All-American Roadshow is coming to Northwell Health at Jones Beach Theater on Wednesday, August 26th. And ESPN New York has your chance to score tickets on the ESPN New York app. Just find the contest tile and submit your entry. It's brought to you by Live Nation. Tickets go on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com. Well, the big news, Mike Tomlin has stepped down as the head coach of the Steelers. Ian O'Connor, who was on with us at 1:30, just tweeted out that in the wake of the Tomlin news, Giants would likely need to give the Steelers draft compensation to hire a coach under contract. For now, the Giants remain totally locked in on John Harbaugh. Now, Mike Tomlin gave the Steelers 19 years. And although they have him under contract, you know, everything that you hear about the Steelers is that they do right by their employees. You mean they're really going to hold it up and make a team give draft compensation? I guess it's a business. So that obviously moves Harbaugh well ahead of Tomlin. Harbaugh is just money because the Steelers were informed by Tomlin he's stepping down. The Ravens fired Harbaugh. So he has 3 years left on his contract, but they don't get anything in return. The only thing that they would get in return is relief on the offset money. So if the Giants hire John Harbaugh, or any team does, then the money that the Ravens owe him come off the books. I think he was making about $10, $11 million a year for the next 3 years with the Ravens. He's probably going to get $20 a year in his next deal. So the Ravens will be off the hook completely. That's their reward. But would the Steelers really have kept Tomlin if he wasn't Mike Tomlin? Do they think it's time for a fresh voice, a new face? I don't know. So that's kind of odd. So if they do insist on draft compensation, then I guess the Giants will pass. But maybe if they lose out on Harbaugh, and I don't know, it takes a third-round pick to get Tomlin, maybe they would. They're supposedly very high on him. They've done their homework on him. He's represented the Steelers with honor over those 19 years. He's never embarrassed anybody. He's a high-class individual. But I think the Giants are still concentrating very much on John Harbaugh. And Andrew Marchand of The Athletic is writing that Tomlin has his choice of any studio show, and it looks like Fox is in the lead, which I don't – listen, I'd want to hire him, but why would Fox be in the lead? What, are they going to have 15 guys on their pregame show? Now, I don't know how good Gronk is other than he's Gronk. You know, he has a hard time saying what he wants to say. I'm sure that people like him because of his Gronk persona. They have Julian Edelman, who's pretty much on the 12 o'clock show or the 11 o'clock show with Carissa Thompson, and he's excellent. But I guess they'd make room for Tomlin. To me, the place that has the ready-made situation for him would be CBS. You know, you watch CBS's pregame show this week, and Matt Ryan left. They have two guys in James Brown. But would it be awkward for them to have the two most recent Pittsburgh Steelers coaches, Cowher and Tomlin? Now, NBC could give it a go and have him be part of the Super Bowl crew. Hard way to break in. And as for ESPN, I guess there's always room, right? They have Ryan Clark and they have Kelsey now and Marcus Spears on the pregame show on Monday. But NFL Countdown with Greeny, I guess they can add Mike Tomlin. There'll be a full table. I'll tell you that. So it's going to be interesting to see which way he goes. Most people that you talk to do not think he's going to go back into coaching this year. But if he doesn't go back into coaching, he might never go back into coaching. Because I reminded you of this earlier. Bill Cowher, it was only going to be a pit stop when he went into television. And he's still there all these years later. He's been on TV 19 years. Because Tomlin took over for him. And he just finished his 19th year with the Steelers. So Cowher never returned. Maybe Tomlin never returns. I guess the Giants are lucky that John Harbaugh doesn't have the itch to be on TV. But as good as you are, other than if you're Tom Brady getting $37.5 million, no one is getting the $20 million a year that John Harbaugh is going to get in his next head coaching job. Wow, what a busy, busy day. Harbaugh chase continues. You heard what Ian O'Connor said. He could see a press conference, if it's the Giants, maybe be on Tuesday. And if it's not the Giants, then the Giants have to recalibrate and go after somebody else. And would they intensify efforts to get Tomlin to get out of his television mode? Wow. I hope we covered it for you. And now Don Hahn and Rosenberg will try their best to advance the ball as well. Can't wait to talk to you again tomorrow at 1 o'clock. In the words of Billy Joel, life is a series of hellos and goodbyes. I'm afraid it's time for goodbye again. See everybody. Talk to you tomorrow at 1.
The St. John's Red Storm go for their third win in a row when they host Marquette at MSG. Coverage begins tonight at 6:10 on 880 ESPN and the ESPN New York app.